No one saw it coming, not the fans, not the industry, not even those closest to them. But late last night, an old video surfaced that shattered every assumption we thought we knew about Wang Shen Yue. A blurry clip, barely 2 minutes long, yet powerful enough to send shockwaves across the internet. It wasn't a scandal, it wasn't a stunt, it was something far more emotional. A confession, a flashback, a truth buried for years, finally clawing its way into the light. The video begins with a young Shen Yue, caught off guard behind the scenes of a forgotten drama set. Her eyes were soft, her voice almost trembling, and her words? They weren't lines from a script. They were real, raw, directed at someone just outside the frame, Wang. In that unfiltered moment, she whispered the truth we never expected to hear, something about what really happened between them when the cameras stopped rolling years ago. And now, as the world watches it unfold frame by frame, the internet isn't just reacting, it's exploding. As the video played on, fans held their breath. It was clear this wasn't meant to be seen, not by the public, not even by insiders. The clip seemed like a private rehearsal recording, forgotten in someone's archive until now. But the sound was clear enough to make out everything. Shen Yue stood in the corner of a dimly lit studio, holding a folded note. Her hands were shaking, her expression torn between fear and relief. And then she looked toward someone off camera. Her words were quiet, but they hit like thunder. "You promised me this would never come out," she said. "You said you'd protect it, even if it meant walking away." The voice that replied was unmistakably Dylan's. Calm, deep, tinged with guilt. "And I did," he said. "I walked away so the world wouldn't tear you apart for what we felt." That single line tore through the fandom like wildfire. What they felt. What had they hidden all these years? The next few moments in the video were even more staggering. Shen Yue stepped closer, clutching the note tighter, then said the line that sent everyone into disbelief. "That night on the rooftop, when you said you were choosing fame, I never believed you. And I still don't." The camera jolted, likely from the person holding it gasping or shifting. But the audio remained. Dylan didn't deny it. He didn't say a word for several seconds. And then finally he spoke. "I wasn't choosing fame," he confessed. "I was choosing survival. If they found out about us back then, they would have ended both our careers before they began." Fans couldn't believe what they were hearing. Theories that had floated around since 2018 suddenly had weight. The chemistry that everyone noticed in Meteor Garden wasn't just acting, it was real. And buried beneath years of denial, red carpet distance, and separate projects, the truth had been sitting in silence. Until now. The silence in the room was deafening as the clip continued. The phone camera was shaky, but the audio was clear enough to capture every tremble in their voices. Dylan stood there, staring at Shen Yue, and the tension between them was so heavy it felt like the air itself refused to move. "You said you were done," Shen Yue whispered, not as a question, but as a wound reopened. Dylan didn't answer immediately. His eyes dropped to the floor, then to her trembling hands. "I thought I was," he finally said, "but I was lying to both of us." The video cut briefly, as if whoever recorded it had to readjust. When it resumed, Shen Yue was seated on a bench outside, her face buried in her palms. Dylan sat beside her, not touching her, not saying anything, just there, present. That presence, it said more than words ever could. "I waited, Dylan," she said, voice cracking. "I waited every time you said later." "I didn't ask you to," he replied softly. "That's the problem," she said, lifting her face. "You never had to." The camera zoomed slightly as someone in the background gasped. A crew member, perhaps. It was clear this wasn't staged. This wasn't drama. This was real. Then Dylan did something no one expected. He reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out an old piece of folded paper. It was creased and faded, something worn from time. Slowly, he passed it to her. Shen Yue opened it with shaking fingers, and as her eyes scanned the words, the tears returned. "It's the letter you wrote the night before filming ended," he said, barely audible. "I never threw it away." "I thought you forgot," she whispered. "I tried," he said, "but how do you forget the only person who made you feel like home?" The camera tilted again, now shaky from the person holding it, possibly crying too. And just then, another voice entered the frame. A female crew member saying, "Guys, people are watching. We shouldn't." But Dylan stood, turning toward the voice. "Let them watch," he said. "They've seen our characters. Now they'll see the truth." And that's when the internet exploded. Clips from the video went viral within minutes. Fans posted side-by-side comparisons of old Meteor Garden scenes and the newly leaked footage. The way Dylan looked at Shen Yue, the way she smiled despite her tears, the way they didn't need a script to show chemistry. Thousands of tweets, millions of views, entire forums dedicated to deciphering every line of the conversation. Did they date in secret? Were they forced to break up? Was this reunion a setup, or fate reclaiming its time? Then came the fan theories. Some believed Bai Lu had found out long ago and walked away because of it. Others swore Dylan and Shen Yue never actually stopped seeing each other, only hid it to protect their careers. And a third theory? That this video was leaked intentionally by someone close to them to finally let the truth breathe. As the days passed, neither Dylan nor Shen Yue gave an official statement, but the silence only fueled the fire. In one particularly gripping moment from the video, just before the final clip ended, Shen Yue looked at Dylan and asked one last question. "If we could go back, would you choose me again?" Dylan didn't blink. He just nodded. Every time. And with that, the screen went dark.
No outro.
No music. Just a quiet truth finally allowed to be heard. Now the entire fandom waits for an answer, a confirmation, or perhaps just one more scene. One more moment where fiction and reality finally meet and stop pretending they were ever separate. The hotel encounter should have been the end of the whispers. But for Dylan and Shen Yue, it was just the beginning of something even more intense and far more dangerous. The morning after the anonymous live stream, a paparazzi photo surfaced that blew the entire fandom into chaos. It showed Dylan leaving the hotel lobby, his face hidden under a cap, but the bracelet on his wrist was unmistakable, the same one Shen Yue gifted him during their final wrap on Meteor Garden. Just an hour later, a different shot revealed Shen Yue leaving through the basement garage, eyes red, lips tightly pressed, as if holding something back. And then, silence. But fans weren't waiting. Every little clue became gospel. A coffee cup in Dylan's IG story that looked exactly like the brand Shen Yue once said was her favorite. A blurry reflection in Shen Yue's makeup mirror that fans swore looked like Dylan's hoodie. Hashtags like #TheyMetAgain and #ForgiveMeWe exploded across platforms. But what came next wasn't a post or a video. It was a leak. From the editing room of a production house neither Dylan nor Shen Yue had confirmed publicly. An anonymous editor posted a 10-second clip on a forum. It showed a new drama in production. Two characters facing each other across a moonlit bridge. It was them, Dylan and Shen Yue. The atmosphere was charged. Real. But the clip wasn't just acting. Right before the scene cuts, you could hear something in Dylan's voice that didn't feel scripted. "I should have fought for you sooner," he said, eyes locked on hers. The editor removed the clip within minutes, but it was already too late. Fans had saved it.
Paused. Zoomed.
Replayed. The conclusion was unanimous. This wasn't just acting anymore. Producers began panicking. Rumors spread of legal teams scrambling to issue takedown orders. But another source, this time a lighting tech, stepped in with a statement that changed the narrative. That scene wasn't in the script, they wrote. It was improvised. And after the director yelled cut, no one spoke for 5 minutes. Everyone was crying. Industry insiders started whispering. Was this new drama a secret project meant to rekindle their on-screen magic? Or was it their final goodbye, captured on film? In the days that followed, Shen Yue disappeared from public view. No updates. No stories. No events. Just silence. Dylan, on the other hand, posted one strange image, a black screen with a caption that simply read, "It's never too late." Fans were torn. Some believed this was the beginning of a reconciliation. Others feared it was a farewell drenched in unspoken pain. But what came next silenced everyone. A charity gala invitation list was leaked. On it, both names were listed. Same event, same night, same table. Fans waited like the world was about to end. And when that night came, cameras flashed brighter than ever. Shen Yue stepped out first, in a stunning midnight blue dress that shimmered like the sky. Then Dylan appeared, tailored suit, no tie, his eyes scanning the crowd until they landed on her. They didn't pose. They didn't wave. They just walked toward each other. Slowly, deliberately. And when they finally stood side by side, Shen Yue whispered something that the press couldn't catch. But a lip reader online claimed she said just one word. Finally. Whatever storm they endured, whatever silence they battled through, the moment was undeniable. They smiled, and the world lost its mind.